Welcome to Her Ink Empire. I'm Justine Almaraz, and this is the podcast that redefines what's possible for you in the tattoo industry and in your tattoo education, not only in technical skills, but in business. This show is for fine artists, creatives, visionaries, artists of all kinds, even doodlers, who are ready to not just build a career, but a legacy. Here we merge mastery, freedom, and creative power to surpass the outdated industry norms, the outdated rules, and step fully into our creative power and roles as leaders in our communities. If you've ever felt like there has to be a better way, a better option to learn tattooing, to earn in this industry, and to lead in tattooing, you're in the right place. So let's build your empire, one bold, daring step at a time. Let's dive in.
Kristine Schomaker, thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate having you here.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. Thank you for, putting it out there and including me. And, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, cool. Me too. Well, this is really cool because you have been a mentor of mine at a time when I was, I started as a fine artist, did the whole art school thing, then went full on into tattooing, and then decided I need to start painting again, put together the show, and figured out, wait, we need promotion for this. So I Googled and I found you, and you helped with PR, and you helped me get my feet wet again in the art world. And that was really, really transformative and powerful. And what an honor to get to talk to you today.
Well, it's like I just plant the seeds and you like grow. Basically, I've never said that before, and I don't think I ever want to say that again, but you know what I mean.
Well, it did feel like that. So
I know.
yeah, so you're doing some big, cool stuff with your art, and you're so multidisciplinary. And I'm gonna have your interview, just so you know, or your bio. I'll say it before and have that edited in. But what I'd love to really, I know there's a lot to talk about because you're doing so many different things. Like, what do you feel the most excited about? I know you have a new nonprofit.
Yeah.
You want to start there?
Yeah. It's interesting because if you would have asked me what I was most excited about like a year ago, it was before I started Prozac. So, I was like, and I was dealing with cancer. So there's that. But it's like, I couldn't have answered that. But it's like, it's the perfect time. Like, I'm cancer free. I started the nonprofit. I've been on Prozac. So it's like, I feel like I have my life back, and I feel like I can actually say, I'm happy or I'm excited about something. And so thank you for asking that question, because it gets me thinking, totally thinking and appreciating that I could be happy, albeit stepping aside from everything else going on in the world. But, in my life, I could be happy. So yeah, the nonprofit, I've run Shoebox Arts. We just celebrated 10 years, and that was, yeah, thank you. That was the PR company. We did artist management and mentorship. I did workshops, professional development, classes. I've curated exhibitions for artists. I have group meetings. I do a call for art list. We do like a lot. It's a support network for artists. So it's like a one-stop shop, a hub. It's a place for artists to go. But, in order to make money, I have to charge artists. And, it started out, of course, doing PR, charging artists. And it was like a monthly kind of retainer. And it's continued on that way. But I know a lot of artists can't afford it. And the artists that I want to work with can't afford it. It's like those are the artists I want to help, who are very talented, and they are motivated and energized and passionate about what they do. And, and I want to help them so much, but I need to make money too. I need to pay my bills. And so creating the nonprofit was kind of just the next step. It was the answer. It was, where we could apply for grants to support artists. We can, bring in donors and do fundraising and, bring in money to subsidize, supporting artists in different ways. I want to do artist residencies, whether it is in-house at different spaces. I'd love to, eventually like buy a place in nature somewhere, and have like artist retreats, and there's of course several out there that I definitely am inspired by. But yeah, doing artist residencies or, like art writer fellowships, because I run Art and Cake, which is an online art magazine, and that falls under the nonprofit now also. And so, bringing in grants to be able to cover and write about artists and art exhibitions and galleries and curators and so, but I want to have like art writer fellowships and cultivate new art writers because art journalism, there isn't that much of it. And of course, the media is a whole other story, but it's like I want to be able to bring in people to talk about their neighborhoods, like the underserved communities and focus on that. And so profit will help with that too. And, yeah, if we could bring in money to subsidize, where artists pay just a little amount, a monthly like membership fee, or even apply for scholarships and financial aid, that's what I'm looking at right now. So it's exciting. The official start date is September 1st. So it's like 2 months to go. And we've already, been working on the website and, all of that stuff. I'm working on a launch party August 18th. So Small Works fundraiser and raffle, and it's going to be the best party of the summer. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, Kristine, that's epic. That's big, big, big stuff. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
yeah, if you need anything, I'm down to support in any way. That is
Thank
so
you. Thank you. I will probably be reaching out.
wow. See, I really think like this is the next level. Like you're kind of creating an art school.
Kind of. There's been a lot of different programs out there, a lot of, different spaces, platforms for supporting artists. I don't know if I want to call it a school, but you know, and I have gone back and forth over different names. Like, what do we call it? How do we get the word out there? How do we explain what we're doing? And I feel like an artist support network, like a hub, because we're going to have a resource page where we list like graphic designers and framers and printers and lawyers for artists and anything an artist needs, they can come to our website and find it. I have an artist assistant database, because I always recommend to artists outsource. If you can outsource, barter, trade a piece of art for somebody to do your website, outsource like having somebody help you hang a show, and trade for graphic design work and, however you can. So I have an artist assistant database for those who are looking for jobs as artist assistants, so just like trying to offer resources and, yeah, having that hub, that central place that artists and even writers and assistants can go to find whatever they need is like what I'm going for.
I love this. I've heard a lot of, well, not a lot. Okay, let me rephrase that. I've heard that some people feel really strongly that like art coaching shouldn't be a thing.
That
Like,
art what?
that art
Coaching?
shouldn't be a thing, and that there shouldn't be artists shouldn't have to pay for this kind of stuff. And I get how you're trying to make it like low cost, but isn't it
Yeah.
funny that art school is extremely expensive and then we're spit out with like no business skills? So you got to figure something else out. And then, yeah, we don't have anybody after that. You know what I mean? But what do you think about this system?
Yeah, good question. First of all, I went to art school. I went to Cal State Northridge, and I will be paying off student loans the rest of my life. So, it's like Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. And I was very lucky. I worked with Samantha Fields, who's an amazing Los Angeles artist. And, she did help us, with like the business side, getting to know like who's important to know out there, getting to know, like going to galleries, make sure and go to galleries. I mean, she talked to us about that, which definitely helped. But then after that, there was nothing. I joined like the Los Angeles Art Association, and I was a member for a few years. They have critique groups. You can apply for shows. It was a really good introduction into the LA art world. Um, and I also I'm kind of a natural leader. So even when I was in school, I was the president of the Art History Student Association. I have my art history degree. I was the president of the Painting Guild. And then after that, when I missed the critique groups, I started my own, with my peers, people I went to school with. And then it was a critique group, and then it went to like a support group for, we like met once a week. We had mimosas, we talked about getting out there and what we needed to do. And I just found that artists do need help. I mean, it's tough because artists were rebels. Artists are different. We're a different, I don't want to say different species, but we think differently. And because of like our creative mind, just like poets and musicians, and we're different brained. And so, a lot of artists don't know anything about business. I work with artists that don't know like how to save an email, things like that, how to search for emails, it's like, so artists do need help. And I recommend, whether they work with me or, getting an assistant, somebody that meets with them in their space to help them do the stuff, because we artists need to keep working. That is the biggest thing. So, as a mentor, and I don't want to call myself a coach per se, I feel like I'm a mentor. I am a cheerleader. I do say go, 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 so in that way it's like coaching. But I'm just like planting the seeds, and I'm giving artists like all of the resources and all of the knowledge and experience to find their path, to figure out where they want to go. I know, there are a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of programs. I have belonged to several of them. I don't know if I don't think I'm with any of them anymore per se, because I couldn't afford it. I can't even afford it. So, but they all do different things. They all are different. I always talk to my artists. There are so many different art worlds out there. There are the art worlds that, like Gagosian art world. It's like, I am not there, and I am not afraid to say, I don't think I'd want to work with Gagosian.
I don't actually know what that is.
Oh, Gagosian Gallery?
No, I don't know.
It's like, it's a blue chip gallery.
Like really, really high, fancy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he has galleries all over the world. There's a profile, read it, on him in the New Yorker.
Okay.
It was last October, I think. I listened to it on my way to a residency in Joshua Tree. It's like 2 hours long to listen to, or an hour and a half or something. Listen to it. It is important. Listen to it. It goes along with, I think when we were in the talk the other day, somebody mentioned the book. There's a book, I listened to it on Kindle. Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, what's that called?
Like
Oh,
broad strokes or something like that.
I could tell you in just, oh wait, not Kindle. I listened to it on Audible. And I could tell you in just a second, because it is important for everybody to know what it is. Oh, it's Get the Picture
Yeah.
by Bianca Bosker. It is like today's, like there were 7 days in the art world, or there was a $12 million shark, which talks about the art world. That's a different art world than I'm in. And, I like being my own boss. I would, and I don't even know if I want gallery representation. I'm talking to a gallery right now, but it's because Perceive Me, like my project with art, is such its own animal too. It's like, it's a social practice work. It's like, it's hard to work with a gallery with that. So that's a whole other thing. But once you work with like a gallery, you have to think about all of these things. Do you want to be owned by that gallery? Do you want to like follow their rules? And artists by, by who we are, we don't follow rules very well.
So glad you're saying this, Kristine.
Yeah, yay.
Preach it. Let's go. Okay, go deeper into this if you can, because let's talk about like what are some of those kind of rules that can really restrain an artist and what to look out for.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I feel part of it's the work, you know? I mean, I talk to so many artists who are like, can I be both a painter and a photographer and a sculptor? Because I keep hearing from different people that I should only do one thing. And it's like, oh my God, it's like they're being told to stay in one lane. And it's like, artists, I need to create. I like where my brain takes me. It's like it could be photography at that moment. It's like it could be taking a picture of a cloud in the sky and posting it on Instagram. That's part of my art. It's part of my sketchbook. It could be, perceive me. It could be, I have this, I mean, I'm going to be painting. I'm going to get back to painting soon. And I have these ideas and it's not perceive me, but I have to make, I have to create. And that is who I am as an artist. And galleries, and of course, I'm speaking generally because galleries are different. There are galleries that work with artists like me who are social practice artists. There's so many different types of galleries out there. It's hard to put them into one category. You can't. There are, neighborhood galleries. There are the blue chip, Gagosian, Blum and Poe, Hauser and Wirth. There's those galleries. There are the mid-level galleries, Culver City, Bergamo Station, it's like there's so many different types of galleries. There are community galleries like TAG, they're collective galleries. TAG and Durden and Ray, the artists pay to be part of that gallery. And some people look down on that. It's like, no, if the artist is happy, who's to judge? It's like, that's what I feel. If the artist has a show once a year, like at TAG, a solo show, and they're happy doing it, that's their path. Let them do it. Don't put them down for doing it. It's like, yeah. So, thinking in terms of that and in terms of rules, it's like, let artists be free to create what they want. And of course, when you're working with a gallery, the gallery knows the market. They know what their collectors are going to buy. And so if they're collectors like abstract and the artist paints abstract, they're going to want more of that. And if you're not producing enough of that, they're not going to want to work with you. So then you have to keep producing that. And then you aren't able to create the other work you want to create. So it's like, it's a tough thing out there to be an artist, to figure it out. And, that's why like the last 20 years, we live in a DIY art world. I say the artists are the gatekeepers, not the galleries. The
Amen
artists,
to that.
yeah, the artists are totally the gatekeepers.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and I think, okay, what does it take to be at that blue chip level? I mean, like, don't you already have to be like pretty well off to be able to make that level of work too? Or get grants or something to do that?
Yeah. I mean, to be at that level, part of it is who you know. Part of it is the school that you went to. Part of it is your talent. I mean, there's like a lot of different things. Part of it is working your way up through the gallery system, starting at one gallery, showing that you're selling, and then working your way up. But I mean, it is kind of who you know. And again, it is the school that you went to. If you look, and I tell my artists to do this, when you go to galleries, look at go and look at the book on the desk and look at the resumes. Look at where they went to school. And also look at the resumes to see where they've shown. Because if it's an artist that you're inspired by, maybe the galleries that they've shown at previously are going to be the galleries that you want to look at to approach to get started.
That's so cool. I'm shocked they care about that.
Well, it depends on the gallery.
Yeah.
And again, it's all about money, and I mean, I'm the type of person, that gallerists are human. The people that work at galleries are human. So who knows what they're thinking? Who knows? To be honest, they could, pick up like an artist because, I mean, I don't know. They like the way they look, or they're in a studio with another one of their artists. I hear this a lot, and I've heard gallerists say this. I've had galleries come and gallerists speak to my artists, that a lot of times they bring artists in based on recommendations from their existing artists, because and one gallerist also said, it's like our gallery is like a family. The artists we work with, we want to make sure everybody fits together. So everybody like works together well. So like when we have dinner together, it's like family. And I tell my artists, when you're seeking out a gallery, do you feel like family? Do you like the vibe of the gallery? There's galleries I walk into where it's like, no, I wouldn't fit in here even if my art does. It's like, because I just don't feel comfortable and I want to feel comfortable. So it's like there's so many different things to think about, in those terms.
I like that. So it's really about just finding your tribe and niche in this big epic world of art, and there's a place for everybody.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's a place, an audience. That's the thing too. It is about finding your audience. Not everybody likes abstract art. Not everybody likes figurative art. Not everybody likes to see my nude body. Not everybody, I mean, yeah, there's not everybody likes landscape. People like work for very different reasons. And so it is about finding your audience, and finding that, I hate to say it, community, but yeah. And, wherever that looks. And so I always tell my artists, try something once, whether it's a show, submitting to a show that you're not sure about, try it once and, see if you like the gallery, see if you like the way they work. I've worked with galleries that don't even tell you if you get rejected. You just like see the list later on that of the artists that got in. It's like, okay, I don't think I want to work with that, because I'm an organized person. I'm very transparent. I want to let everybody know what's going on all the time. And so I want to work with somebody like me. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's, organized and efficient, and not everybody's, and of course not everybody's going to be like that, but as close as possible to just caring. And I think that's the important thing.
100%. So could you share with us a bit about Perceive Me? Because I want to go into that a bit, and then we're kind of leading into some stuff you're talking about community, and like it's kind of leading to marketing, which I'm excited
Okay.
to go into, because what you're doing with Perceive Me is actually a genius marketing move.
Thank you. Thank
Did
you.
did you come up with that or have that as an idea before you created this project?
Not really, but then I saw the potential, I saw, but, and it's funny because I mean, I've done PR for artists and art events. When you do it for yourself, it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's totally different. But it's about finding the right audience, finding the right space. So, just really fast before I start talking about Perceive Me, the exhibition, well, and actually I should just talk about Perceive Me. Perceive Me is, just for anybody out there that doesn't know, my work in general, except for being an abstract painter, even though somebody told me my abstract paintings have my body in them. So, my work in general is about body image. It's about being plus size and having an eating disorder. And it's about ideas of beauty, because I have never thought that I was attractive. And it's about, I'm 51 years old. I've never been married, and that is by choice, but also I haven't really been asked out on a date. And in my mind, somewhere in the back of my mind, I have thought that that's because I'm not attractive. But also I'm a feminist. It's like I also like, I'm a strong woman. and I think like people are intimidated by that, maybe, I don't know. But in my mind, there's something about self-worth and confidence and body image, and it's because I'm not attractive. And that's been since childhood, since like I was 10, 11 years old. I looked at old pictures and I was on vacation and I was wearing a bathing suit with a t-shirt. And it's like I was thin and I had beautiful long legs and I was wearing a t-shirt to cover up my body. And so somehow, it's been ingrained in me that I'm not attractive. And so when I went to grad school, Samantha Fields, kind of, who's a painter and who I went to grad school to, for painting, she's like, wait, I want to see your second life stuff. I want to see the stuff about body image. And I want to see like, focus on that. And then that's when I realized I had an eating disorder. And so it was like I was really concentrating on that. I did my master's thesis was on comparing myself with my avatar in the virtual world, who was tall, thin, beautiful, who used to date, stuff like that. So after I graduated, I did other work based on body image. I was thinner then than I am now. I've gained weight. And I've done, portraits. I've done photos of myself nude in different ways. And because I've used my body in my art, a couple of artists I know asked me to be part of their projects that they were, photographing people. J. Michael Walker was doing a project, Bodies Mapping Time. He's done over 90 women. I think it's all women with different disabilities like mastectomies and, different body shapes, different ages. And they're gorgeous. They're like Renaissance paintings, but they're photographs. They're amazing. So it took me a couple of years to participate in that project. But I finally did it. And then Amanda Mears asked if she could draw me for her project. And so I went 3 different times to her studio for 2 hours each. And I stood there in my like power stance. And we started talking about being perceived and the idea of self-perception and just the idea that oftentimes our own self-worth comes from how we imagine others perceive us. Every time I have an artist come over to photograph me, to draw me, they're like, oh my gosh, your body is so beautiful. And, every single time I have not, in the whole time I've worked on the project, which is since 2018, I have not had one person say I'm ugly, not one. And I've had like hundreds of people either, collaborate with me or see the exhibition or all of that. So I worked with Amanda Mears and we were talking about the idea of perception. And it just came to me. I'm like, I need to continue this. I want to see myself through other artists' eyes. And so I just like put the call out. I invited a few friends who I knew who did like figurative work. And that was it. Like within a year, I had 60 artists that I had collaborated with. And it was from August of 2018 to August of 2019. And we put together a catalog and we got an exhibition. The first exhibition, I shopped the show around. It went to Cal State Los Angeles, Ronald H. Silverman Gallery. Mika Cho took a chance on me. And it was beautiful. The exhibition was beautiful. There were 600 people at the opening. We had the catalog there, and it was wonderful. And then it closed like February 25th of 2020, and then the pandemic hit and everything closed, and it was supposed to travel. And so it stayed in storage, or actually, I think the artist picked up the work and took them home. And then it ended up traveling to 4 other places. The last place was Mesa College in San Diego this last April of 2023. Yes, 2023. So, and I was done because I did everything. I mean, I had help with some things, but I organized everything. I have spreadsheets on my computer. I emailed all the artists. Some places I hung the work. Some places, like a museum studies class did, and they also had other help with that. But I got the storage unit. I had to get the U-Haul truck, and I asked for help with artists to like pack and to load the truck and unload the truck and get the storage unit. I mean, I asked for help with some of that because I couldn't do that alone, but I had to organize all of that. I was exhausted. And
I bet.
yeah, yeah. I was done. I knew I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was in OA, 12-step program for my eating disorder. I was really focused on that. And so I'm like, I need to concentrate on myself. I need to concentrate on self-care, on like, recovering from my eating disorder. So that was it. And I was also at the time dealing with the cancer. So, and then, yeah, I had the surgery last August. It's gone. And then I don't remember, January of this year, the other art fair reached out to me. And they're like, so, a few years ago in Brooklyn, we had this thing called Get Nude, Get Drawn. And, where the public would come and get drawn, and, the artist would get other artists together. And, we've seen your Perceive Me project. We love it. Would you want to do that? Something similar for Perceive Me? And I'm like, yes. I was just like, oh my gosh, yes. And so I talked to them. We called it nude portrait sessions, and we did that in April of this year. It's the next step to Perceive Me. It is like the perfect step because it becomes more interactive with the public. It's not just me posing, but people from, who just come into the events or whatever, they have no idea, and they're going to pose nude for, 20, 30 minutes and be drawn and get the experience that I got. And I mean, there were people that we did it, people cried, people like laughed, people brought props, somebody wrote about it, and I have it on my website. It was just amazing. And I showed some of the Perceive Me artwork on one of the walls, and it was powerful and successful. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to continue this. So the next nude portrait sessions is going to be at the Brewery Art Walk, October 5th and 6th. It's going to be in my space here. So anybody could come and sign up to pose nude. And if you want to be an artist, there's on my website under news, there's a place where you can collaborate. You can sign up to be an artist to draw. And you don't have to be nude. I've had people ask, do I have to be nude to draw? And I'm like, no, you just draw the public. It's a great like drawing class, life drawing classes. And so, I organized that. And for the other art fair, there were 34 artists. So I'm good about herding cats, organizing in different ways. And so that's continuing. And I decided to continue collaborating with artists also. And, having artists draw me, paint me. I've worked with 23 so far. And, in like the last month, I mean, I've been like, go, maybe 6 weeks, go. And we don't have I'm going to show part of the work at the Brewery Art Walk in October. And I'll be looking for an exhibition space next year. We're going to have a catalog, but it's my life's work. Somebody said it's a movement. It's your life's work. It is so important, to talk about body image. Everybody deals with it in very different ways. It's universal. And so, yeah, it's become a social practice work. It's become a movement. It's its own thing. And it's kind of who I am and what I do now. So.
Wow. That's so incredible, because I think we started working together it was towards the end of 2018.
Was it? Okay.
So yeah, so this was just starting to kick up, and how it's evolved is amazing.
Yeah, it's been, like I said, and I mean, I don't talk about depression a lot, but it's crazy to me to think that I did all of that before Prozac. I mean, like, I didn't realize that I was going through this low level depression, that like, and I'm good at masking. I'm good at masking it. I'm good at, nobody would know. I mean, and then the pandemic hit and I was like, oh my God, hallelujah. I could like hide and nobody will know. It's like, I mean, I did a lot of stuff. I brought artists together. I continued working. Things happened on Zoom. But after that, I would go to bed and binge watch British murder mysteries. That would be it. So it's like, And then, when the pandemic started easing up, and I'm COVID anxious. I mean, of course, and then I got cancer. So I really have to be, I'm immunocompromised now. So I have to be careful, but I'm better now. And I haven't had COVID, knock on wood. I'm one of those like people that hasn't had COVID. So as far as I know, anyway. But, it's like when I started Prozac and I knew I needed it because things were opening up and I didn't want to do anything. I mean, I was working, I was doing what I needed to do to work, to do Shoebox. I would go to openings here and there, but I wasn't present. And I would come back home and get into bed at 3, 4 in the afternoon, and that was it. I'd be there the rest of the day. And I'm like, okay, something is not right. This is not good. And so it took me a long time to start medication because I was scared. I was like, is it going to change my brain chemistry? Is it, how am I going to feel? I had a lot of the side effects. It was over the holidays, which was good. So I wasn't working as much. And then once I got over the side effects, it was like, wow, I have motivation. I'm doing the dishes and like not even second thinking about it for a second, I'm like, I mean, there's still things, that I'm not like, I wish I would exercise more, but I have more energy and people are like, more energy. You already have a lot of energy, and I feel, like I said, I could say I'm happy and I could never answer that. It took me 15, 20 years to answer that. And I couldn't say that. So, moving forward with Perceive Me is a little different now. It's like, I mean, there's still the body image issues and things like that, and I'm still learning to love my body. I'm still, I think that'll be a lifelong thing. But yeah, there's something has shifted a little bit up there. So
Thank you for sharing that because so many are struggling with it and need to hear stories like that, like you've shared what you've experienced. So thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. I am nothing but, what's the word? I am good about like putting my vulnerability out there. I mean, that's, I post nude. So I'm like, physically and, psychologically, because I want to help people. I mean, I don't know, that's maybe what I was born to do, I mean, and however I can, whether it's planting a seed about depression, whether it is, planting a seed about body image or planting a seed about artists, that you can do this without a gallery, I mean, whatever it is, um, I'm just glad to be able to help and support.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
What an honor to talk with you.
Aw. Well, I have to say, I was like, Ray mentioned your interview with him, and he's like, oh my gosh, I learned so much about myself. And I'm like, oh, I want to talk to Justine. I need to learn about myself too.
He did. That's so funny.
I know, it was something like that. It was great. He just said, and I mean, you had already sent an email about it anyway, but I didn't have the bandwidth at the time. And I'm like, okay, I need to do this.
Oh, so cool. I'm glad. I'm glad.
And
Yeah,
I'm going to say it here, eventually, I want to meet with you for an intuitive tattoo.
I was thinking that. I was like, look at your arm tattoo. I was like, I want to
Yes. I have like Shelly design the one that's on this arm. This one, I'm going to have her design like a raven. So I don't know where it would be or what it would be, but yeah, I've thought about it. I'm like, I would love Justine to do an intuitive tattoo. Yeah.
Oh, honored to.
One of these days.
What another level of perceive me that would be, huh?
Yes.
Because that whole process is so much about like, the intuitive perception mixed with your intentions.
Yeah.
Involves like in the way you want it to on your body.
Okay, we may need to do this sooner as part of Perceive Me then, huh?
Yeah, if you're up for doing something like really talking more about that
Yeah.
could be cool and like
Maybe we can have somebody videotape it.
yeah,
I don't know if you've ever done that before.
yeah, we can do that.
Okay. And that could be the Perceive Me. That could be what's shown at Perceive Me.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk.
Cool. Okay. I have one last question for you. It just keeps like nudging at me.
Okay.
What's your favorite way to make money as an artist?
Oh my gosh. Money, 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 money.
Kristine, do you make money with the Perceive Me project? Like, do you sell that work at all?
Not much. We have sold the work. We've sold a few pieces. But it's not about the money. And, for me, art is not about the money. I've always been very bad with money. I think it's part of like my addiction, part of my like addictive nature, I know, and I've started a 12-step program for that too, but I could only do one at a time. And my eating disorder would kill me faster than the money thing. So, and I'm doing better. I have a bookkeeper who saved my life. She's a friend, she's an artist. And it was just, things fall. I mean, I don't know. I do believe in like intuition, or not intuition. I believe in intention. It's like sometimes you put stuff out and you don't even realize. I don't know, how long have we been working together now? 8 or 9 years, maybe? Something like that. Emily and I. And we went to school together. So she graduated in 2011, I think, and I graduated in 2010. And one day I remember this specifically. I was in the Baskin Robbins parking lot. I was eating like a hot fudge sundae, and she called me, and I hadn't heard from her in a while, like since we went to school. It was like 2 or 3 years later. And we just started talking, and she wanted to run an idea by me. She was applying for a grant and for professional development, and she wanted to see if I would be the organization that did the professional development and I would get the money. And I'm like, yeah, definitely. So we started talking, and we clicked. It was just, and she started talking about what she did. And I'm like, I need your help, and that was it. And so she's been my bookkeeper ever since, keeping I have like a prepaid debit card that she puts my allowance on, basically. I mean, she has saved my life. And she's the one who, has helped with the nonprofit. And, it's like, yeah, she knows she's my savior. She's wonderful. So in terms of money, I mean, because of that, my relationship with money, of course, if I sell art, it's like, oh my gosh, this is extra money. Emily's happy, but it's not the end all and be all for me. It's about just creating the work, the process, the documentation, I want to help artists make money because I know artists also need money, but it's not like the end all and be all. So for Perceive Me, for Perceive Me, what we did was the first portion of Perceive Me, all the work was for sale, and the artist got 50%, which is the normal in the art world. And then we split it up between I got 25 and either the institution got 25 or 25 went to a charity. And so like Cal State Los Angeles, I don't remember how much we sold. I think we sold quite a bit. I want to say we donated, I can't remember, 6,000 to what was it? They had like a meditation garden. And so we donated. It's like their mental health, like department, and they had a meditation garden. So we donated, that much, which was amazing. And so, and of course, all of that, whatever went to me went, back into like the catalogs or the storage unit or, I mean, all of that. So, but the artist got, 50%. So yeah. And moving forward, it depends on if I get a gallery or not, because that's going to be a whole other thing. Like what's the gallery split? And so, yeah, it's complicated. But, I have sold my paintings, and, I've been in a place where I also I want people like the regular public to be able to own original art. People are like, "Well, why don't you just sell prints?" I'm like, "It's not the same." I could sell like a 16 by 20 inch print, that, of like a 36 by 48 inch painting that is very textured. It's not the same, and so I've even thought, should I do like a raffle of my paintings? Should I do like a lottery thing? Should I, you know, yeah. And I didn't do that. I ended up cutting up my paintings. And I did like an installation. So I was selling like the pieces for like 200 or 300 bucks each, depending on the size and stuff. But yeah, I cut up my paintings, and that's a whole installation that is currently, the show's over, but it's hanging in Tucson right now. So, and I've cut up a lot of my work. It's like, whether it's storage issues, whether it's just, I get very impulsive. And so I've shredded all of my photos, starting with my skinny photos. And that's like a whole artwork. So that's who I am and what I do. And I embrace that and I accept that. And this is like who I am. And it's like, I'm not going to change to be part of a gallery. I am going to go on, being my authentic self. And that's what I try to help artists do too. And that's what, and even Perceive Me, talking about community and talking about, all of that. Like, I've created a community with Perceive Me, which I love. The artists all know each other now. They go do things together. They see each other places. And so in my community, that community is, of course, connecting with my Shoebox, or eventually my January Arts community, which is the nonprofit. And I love that. I mean, I love connecting people, and that's exactly what Perceive Me does. And that's what everything else I do is about, connecting people so they can help each other. I have a free peer mentorship program where artists can sign up and I pair them together, and it's international. So I've paired artists with from Los Angeles in India, or, New York and London, and they hold each other accountable, and they connect like once a week or when they can, and they offer advice, and it's free. And
Cool.
yeah, I'm able, connection is a huge part of who I am and what I do.
That's so awesome. How does someone get in touch with you for something like that, or for your other offerings?
Yeah, well, January Arts, the website's up. It's januaryarts.org. And under programs, our peer mentorship exchange is mentioned there. So they can click on the button and fill out the Google form and sign up there. And they can see the other programs there. Perceive Me, if they want to get involved, it's my website, KristineSchomaker.net, and it's under news, under my blog. I've done blog posts about getting involved. So yeah, and they can see like the rest of the pictures from Perceive Me and stuff like that.
Cool.
So yeah.
Awesome. So big stuff coming up. So you've got the opening of the nonprofit, and then you've got the brewery Perceive Me show coming up too.
Yeah. Yeah.
September and October, big stuff.
Yeah. August 18th is the launch party. So the information's also on the January Arts website. And that's going to be fun. We're having it catered by somebody at the brewery. She runs District 5 Kitchen, and she works with she caters for the homeless. And I mean, she works with different communities in Los Angeles, and she's lovely. So, and she helped us during the pandemic. She was amazing. And then, yeah, and there's going to be raffles and small work shows. Everything's $100. And just bringing people together, connection, and, hanging out for 3 hours. And it's at the Moon Huts, which is a really cool space, on Valley, 3 miles from the brewery. So yeah. And then, yeah, so that's August 18th. And then the Brewery Art Walk is October 5th and 6th.
Awesome. So everyone listening or watching, if you ever see Kristine's art and you love it, get it before she shreds it. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
So there's urgency there.
Yep.
I love that. Cool. Well, I think that is a really beautiful, well-rounded, thorough convo. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
so
you.
good. Thanks, Kristine. So good.
It was so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you for your vulnerability and honesty and candidness with everything. I think that was an intention you set for this, just real talk, and that very much accomplished. And we need more of that in in the world. And so thanks for bringing that purely.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Yeah. So when you're ready for that tattoo, let me know.
Yes, yes, we will be in touch. Absolutely.
Awesome. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yay. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I feel like that was a work of art. That was really, thank you.
Oh, good. It was fun. It was so fun.
Cool. Well, I'll get it edited up and ready to go. And then, do you have a YouTube? Do you use YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I have a YouTube and I use it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be cool to then tag you to that. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. And then maybe I'll be able to put some clips of this on Instagram. Would that be cool?
Yeah, absolutely. Invite me as a collaborator, put it wherever, and I'll share it all over the place. And yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you soon and enjoy your week and
Okay, sounds good. Yep.
All right,
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening and being a part of Her Ink Empire. Remember, this is only the beginning. Your empire is already unfolding. Until next time, stay bold, stay aligned, and stay true to you as you build your artistic legacy.